Hello, and it's good to have you join us again on Maritime Radar. Nigeria, situated along the Gulf of Guinea in West Africa, boasts of a vast coastline that stretches over 853 kilometers, 220 nautical miles, and encompasses a maritime territory abundant with untapped potential worth $296 billion. With today's exchange rate, the value of Nigeria's maritime assets is many times bigger than her budget of 2025 at 54.99 trillion naira. The maritime assets have long remained a source of intrigue, offering a treasure trove of opportunities for economic growth, strategic development, and international trade. As Nigeria seeks to diversify its economy and leverage her natural resources, harnessing the maritime assets should be treated as a pivotal agenda for 2025. How to explore the potentials of our rich ocean resources and a look at the performance tripod of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency NIMASA on safety, security, and shipping development are some of the issues that will be on the front burner on today's show. I am Norma Obiaswalo. Experts say that the Nigerian blue economy can offer 350 million jobs to Nigerian citizens if adequately harnessed. This goes to show the enormous blue economy potential and marine resources that can be explored in Nigeria through the maritime industry. To maximize the abundant marine resources in Nigeria, achieve the above projected economic development, and reposition the Nigerian maritime industry among the best in the world through the blue economy concept, new lines of thinking need to be considered within a viable action plan, which includes refocusing the attention of the Nigerian maritime industry beyond traditional maritime sector activities, sustainable use of marine resources, marine spatial planning, emergence as a center of maritime dispute resolution, and tourism. Before we get further into today's lineup of the program, let's find out the latest in maritime news.
Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima has called on ministries, departments and agencies of government, as well as members of the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, to deepen collaboration and foster a more conducive environment for doing business in the nation. Speaking at the closing session of PEBEC Retreat for Heads of MDAs and MDA Reform, Shettima emphasized that the overarching goal is to ensure that Nigeria remains a preferred destination for investors. He added that PEBEC, an institution he chairs, is not just to review reform progress, but to deepen more critical synergy. He noted that the business of government is too complex to be solved in silos, while the problems that need to be solved are increasingly intertwined. Among the attendees was the Managing Director of the Nigerian Ports Authority, Abubakar Ntoho, as well as the Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Dr. Dayo Mobereola. The International Labour Organization, ILO, has approved sweeping updates to the Maritime Labour Convention, marking a major milestone in the global efforts to safeguard seafarers' rights and improve their working conditions. The landmark reforms were finalized during an intensive week-long session in Geneva and represent a collective breakthrough for the maritime industry. Among the most impactful changes are new provisions officially recognizing seafarers as key workers, strengthening repatriation protocols, and ensuring visa-free shore leave access. The revised convention also addresses long-standing concerns around onboard safety and well-being. Enhanced protections against bullying and harassment have been introduced, alongside updated health provisions mandating vessels to carry the ICS International Medical Guide for seafarers and fishers. The new measures are set to be ratified at the 113th session of the International Labour Conference in June, with full implementation expected by December 2027.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Maritime Radar. African Union reports that blue economy contributes $300 billion to Africa's economy, as Nigeria's untapped blue economy potential is put at $296 billion. But the surge in these economic activities on Nigeria's waterways brought with it increased security challenges that have strengthened livelihoods, economies of nations and individuals. How has the Deep Blue Project fared in exploring deep ocean resources, promote sustainable marine development, support the Blue Economy Initiative, and securing the Nigerian waters up to the Gulf of Guinea? In this chat with Dr. Bashir Jamoh, former Director General, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency NIMASA, shares how to effectively explore our ocean resources, the need to build on the milestone achieved in the maritime security to boost investors' confidence, and more. Stay with us. Hello, it's good to have you join us on the show, sir.
Thank you very much, Naoma.
Your tenure as the Director General of NIMASA had some sterling achievements. Talk to us, which ones are most fulfilling for you, sir?
I think the most fulfilling one has to do with maritime security. When I was appointed as the Director General, there was a serious crisis on maritime security, to the extent that the international community tagged Nigeria as the most dangerous waters to trade in terms of shipping. And that was around March 2020. At that time...
The same month you came in?
Yes.
Okay.
No. Before I came in, they have already declared that status, Nigerian status. And at that time, there was an average attack of 6 vessels per week. So at the end of the day, Nigeria took a number of steps to see that the issue of maritime security has been addressed, especially at that time. Nigeria was not judged on the issue of attacks based on the territorial waters of Nigeria, but based on the Gulf of Guinea. So we had a serious challenge. Number one, the platforms and infrastructure to deal with that situation. And thank God, we already entered into agreement with Israeli company to provide the platforms at that time. But most of the platforms, some arrived, were scattered in ports. And I could remember we had a secured anchorage area contract, which was signed with a private security outfit. And that outfit, we call them, the company called Secured Anchorage Area. They had to, Captain Hosa, late Captain Hosa, was the one, owning the company. So at a later stage, when the situation continued and the then president directed that Nigerian Navy and NIMASA should take charge, and the Secured Anchorage Area issue should be, cancelled, that contract. So NIMASA and Nigerian Navy took over, I think sometimes February in 2021. And remember at that time, that was COVID area. So we worked hard to see that we cleared those platforms and deploy them. That's the Deep Blue project, in addition to what the Nigerian Navy have on ground. So we now swung into action. We introduced a lot of measures. Part of the measures was, collaborations with all the agencies that concerns the Nigerian Navy, the Department of Security Services, the Nigerian Police, the NIMASA, the Civil Defense, and many more. We all came together and invite the international community to join us, so that they will be monitoring what we are doing. They will be seeing what we are doing. They will see the type of expenses the Nigerian government that is being put into. So that single act, because as the saying said, that if you are cooking yam for a blind man, try to be talking so that he will not suspect you are eating. he's already there. Yam. Yeah. So we invited the international community, the oil marketers, BIMCO, Intertanko, NCMP, to come and have what we call at that time shared Gulf of Guinea. So we always have a meeting every month, and we will now continue to review what was happening. And before you know, by September 2021, we have achieved something that we never achieved in the last 27 years at that time, since 1994. So, and that was the turning point. Before you know, we eradicate the issue of piracy in our own territorial water. So that's one of the most important things, because it has to do with international things, and then the infrastructures we provided, together with the, working hand in hand with the Nigerian Navy. For the first time, we used to see ourselves as rivals, but we decided to become one and united entity and put the monster to stand still.
Okay, I know as we also woo investors, we should also build on the successes that has been achieved in the maritime security. So another tripod to NIMASA's performance is also shipping development. This is one of your core mandates. How do you think NIMASA has fared in shipping development, looking at the growth of indigenous shipping industry? So is there an issue of policy or implementation?
Yeah, both. We have the policies available, but what is becoming a monster in terms of achieving a lot is the issue of the implementation and the strategy to get such things done. Now, this week, I saw the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy directing the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency to commence the process. We have gone far. By the time I left, I know that with these directives, NIMASA will put their hands on, all hands will be on deck to make sure that they achieve the disbursement of this cabotage vessel financing fund, popularly known as CVFF. So we'll wait and see how far or how long it will take for them to disburse the funding. But that is one of the most important area in terms of the shipping development. We would like to see the disbursement, how it will entail. Apart from CVFF, we used to have ship acquisition and shipbuilding fund, and the history of what transpired. People collected the money and took it as a national cake,
which is also a critical area we need to develop.
Yes,
if we must succeed in our shipping.
Yes, so in so doing, I believe that mistake will not be repeated in the CBFF. So at the end of the day, we can see the development of shipping, especially when they decide probably to have an assembly plan of probably the shipping in the long run. Maybe a short time they can go and buy the ship, then gradually they may have an assembly plan so that we can be able to have technology, transfer of technology by coming to the country, establish their own company to start building the ship here in Nigeria, because the Cabotage Act provides they are living on 4 legs, ownership, building, registration, and manning. Now, when you are building, then you are now ensuring that you comply strictly with the act. So in so doing, I believe that we will be able to have the shipping developed in the country. Another issue is the promotional aspect, which is working hand in hand with the shipping development. And at the end of the day, the infrastructure, we have to develop the infrastructure. So that development of infrastructure is not somehow clearly stated in the act, but I believe the ministry, even when I was there, we have been discussing on what to do. Because
do you think it needs rejigging to be able to fine tune?
I believe
this
they are
aspect?
working on it. I believe they are working on it. It needs to be rejigging, and we have already taken, before I left, we have taken the amendments to the National Assembly for considerations.
Okay, we'll be looking at another core mandate of NIMASA, which is capacity building, but that will be after this short break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is Maritime Radar, and I still have with me Dr. Bashir Jamoh. He is the former Director General, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. Before we went on that break, I said we are going to look at another core mandate of NIMASA, which is capacity building. Can you assess the Nigerian Seafarer Development Program, which NIMASA has embarked on for years? What is its impact in maritime human capacity development? Do you think it has met that goal of capacity building?
No, we are yet to get there. First of all, we don't have the ships available in Nigeria. Most of the trained NSDP students, they try to secure a job outside Nigerian shore. And the essence of the NSDP is not only for our own internal consumption, but also to export the labor into the international market, just like what is happening in Malaysia, Indonesia.
That export is very critical because we have the population and we have the advantage of English speaking. But
well, it has to be gradual. What is the most important thing about the SDP? The policy is there and it has come to stay. And at the international market, our seafarers that train under NSDP, they are scattered everywhere. Before I left office, we started taking the data. Where are they located? How many of them finished the NSDP? And how many secured employment? Where do they secure employment? How many are at the national level? And how many are still in schools? Because the program started in 2008. So it's time for us to take stock on that. So I'm sorry to say we are yet to get where we want to go. When we are talking of the capacity building, we have our own national institutions and we have the international institution. The one we are doing through the NSDP is the one that it has an international certification. But the local certifications, as I told you, we have gone far with the Man Oron, and I believe by now Man Oron must be able to rectify all the requirements that the international standards meet, so that at the end of the day they will stop rejection our own COC certificates.
Okay, another area that is dear to your heart, I believe, is the blue economy. So we'll quickly look into that. So what, in your view, is the potential of Nigeria's blue economy? In your word, you said it's humongous, if I might borrow your word. So why are we yet to tap into this humongous potential in the blue economy? What policy direction do you want to see now?
Well, that also, I think about 3 or 4 weeks ago, the Minister of Marine and Blue Economy clarified the air on that by saying that they have concluded the policy and sent the policy to the Federal Executive Council for their consideration and approval. So you see, that is one arm of it. We must have our own laws and policies in place to be able to achieve the required or the desired goal as far as blue economy is concerned. Now, the blue economy has been estimated some few years back as an economy that is internationally about $2.5 trillion. You understand? So each country depending on what they put in place in terms of their own laws, regulations, and infrastructure, they will be able to, get what they can cut from that 2.5 trillion. You agree with me that the oil and gas is also part of the blue economy. So what we are selling in terms of oil and gas, LNG, and the NNPC Limited is also part of blue economy. But since we are mono economy, when we are talking about blue economy, we are not discussing about the oil and gas. You look at your surroundings in our seas and oceans and look at what you are not maximizing in terms of utilizations. Those things that you are seeing around you and you are not utilizing it effectively is what we call blue economy. So we are making effective use of oil and gas. Now, what of our fisheries? What of our renewable energy? What of our waste management? What of our marine tourism? And so many others are there that we suppose. For instance, if you take fisheries, before the advent of oil in Nigeria, apart from agriculture, fishing used to be the second largest that provides income for Nigerian economy. But today, is the most lowest. We are now one of the highest importers of our own fish. But before I left office, I began to see some changes with the fishing because we are doing backward integrations in terms of fishing export now to reduce the level of importations, and we have achieved a lot on that. Just like what we did in rice, we are no longer dependent on international community. So what we need to do is to ensure that laws and policies are put in place, and then we will now begin to see the priority areas that we are going to take and what we have to put in place, especially in terms of infrastructure. And then we will now move on. We have gone far in terms of sensitizations, educating Nigerians on how to do. I remember when I was in office, we created what we call LISCON, the literal state policy. And we moved from governor to governor. We discussed with them that we want them to be, to buy into the policies of this blue economy. And I assure you, Naoma, all the governors we met at that time, they welcomed the idea. Each state, they gave us the area of comparative advantage they want us to be part, to link with them. And at the end of the day, we were unable to move forward due to the bureaucratic nature of the policies and the acts that is going to be approved. I prayed within the shortest possible time, the Federal Executive Council will now approve the policy submitted by the Marine and Blue Economy Minister, and then we will now begin to see real implementations of these policies into the practical application. At the end of the day, the issue of seminar, conferences, trainings, we have gone far on that. People are now aware and they understood what is blue economy and where is blue economy is headed. So it's a private sector driven. As I said earlier, NIMASA, they are now talking to private sector to come and invest in the maritime sector. And I want to see the same drive in terms of foreign direct investments, because the most important thing is the foreign component of the blue economy. The sustainability of it, as you mentioned, that is one of the key things. Sustainable use of oceans resources. So if we can do that, at the end of the day, I think we can. For instance, if we take fishing, you have to plan what type of activity you want around the shipping industry. Is it the one for national consumption or regional? Or you want to even move up to the continental?
You must get that right.
And then you go to the international market. So in doing so, you have to develop a strategy on how you can develop the fishing industry to be the one that you can start exporting your own fish to the international market that will impact positively in our own economy. With that, you have to start thinking of the marine protective areas. You protect, you take number of hectares or number of, miles that you can protect with a view maybe like 2-3 years. After that, you begins to, harvest for the international market. And then you will have the one for the local consumptions in our own industry. We have to revive our fishing industry, and we see that the value, when you do that, the value chain that you will create is, and you begins to assess the number of jobs you will create with that, you will now begin to realize the importance of the blue economy.
Time is not always our friend when we are having this kind of important conversation, national issue. I have learned a lot, in this conversation. I must say thank you very much, and I'm sure our viewers have also learned the blue economy, the potential, and the need to tap into it, and most especially sustainable economy. Thank you very much for your time. It's been Dr. Bashir Jamoh. He is the former Director General, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. Thank you very much for your time and your patience and your thoughts on the show.
All right, thank you.
And that's our show this week. I hope that this episode has been able to assess NIMASA's core functions and the urgent need to tap into the potentials of the blue economy for wealth creation. Join us every week on Maritime Radar as we explore potentials that will ensure the development of the maritime sector in Africa. You can also expect the latest in global and local maritime news plus industry insights right here. I am Norma Obiaswalo. Many thanks for your time, and see you again next week.